Raw was absolutely horrendous. This episode was probably the worst I've seen ever. Honestly, this is probably the worst Raw I've seen ever. The worst Raw I've ever watched, honestly. This Raw was atrocious. This Raw was horrendous. This Raw was terrible. Oh my god, this was bad. And straight off the rip, right at the beginning of the show, we all figured out that it was going to be straight up filler and trash. Because right at the beginning of the show, we got announced like a whole bunch of matches that was going to happen, and none of them sounded good. None of them sounded entertaining. None of them sounded, must watch. It was announced that we are going to get Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker, Jay Uso versus Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins versus Penta. You are going to get Kyrie Sain versus Roxan Perez. I'm like, who wants to see that? Who wants to see these matches? I'm like, oh God. Straight off rip, we knew it was going to be nonsense. Straight off rip, we knew it was going to be nonsense and straight garbage. And we weren't wrong. At least I wasn't wrong. Because I knew, I was like, no, this show's not going to be good at all. Because with these list of matches that they're announcing, none of them sound good. I'm like, this is going to be straight filler and garbage. And it was worse than filler and garbage. Golly. Like, my expectations were already low, and this show went even lower, which is crazy to me. Anyhow, though, let's just get into like what happened on this episode of Raw. Let's get into the breakdown. This one might be really quick because nothing happened. So firstly, we kicked off with a Seth Rollins and Friends in-ring promo. You know, the new group, Seth and Friends. We got an in-ring promo from them. Bron Breakker snatches the mic out of Paul Heyman's hand, and he says that he's standing in the ring because of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman's vision. And Paul Heyman's vision and Seth Rollins' vision involved him being the face of the company for the next 2 decades, and that's why he's standing in the ring, and that's why he's part of the group. And I guess we get like a little mini explanation or whatever. Bron says, though, however, I have my own vision, and in my vision, Sami Zayn is not part of the WWE. And Bron Breakker says that he will never understand why the fans cheer for Sami Zayn. He says that Sami Zayn has an expiration date, and I plan to put a stamp on it. Bron Breakker plans to put a stamp on Sami Zayn's expiration date. And that's what Bron Breakker says. He cuts a little promo, whatever. Then Bronson Reed gets the mic. Bronson Reed says that he's the man who hit Seth Rollins with 6 tsunamis. He is dangerous. He's so dangerous that Seth Rollins brought him into the group and into his vision. He says that he plans to tsunami the respect into the Yeet Man. 4 letters, 1 word, Yeet. Into the Yeet Man, Jay Uso, later tonight. Then Paul Heyman cuts his own promo. Paul Heyman basically, well, he doesn't cut a promo. He basically just paraphrases everything the 2 men before him said. But Paul Heyman just said it better. You know, he just paraphrased it better and put the intensity that was missing into it. You know, he just said it better and nicer and cleaner and neater. So Paul Heyman basically just reiterates what the 2 men before him said. Paul Heyman then proceeds to announce that later on tonight, we will get a match where Seth Rollins will face off against Penta. And he says that Seth Rollins will stomp Penta into the mat. Paul Heyman also pulls out some Spanish on us. Paul Heyman talks, he speaks Spanish to Penta to prove his point, I guess, which was pretty cool. I like that little moment. After this, though, this promo, it was all right. I mean, it was better than some of the Seth and Friends openers we've gotten for Raw, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was all right. But after this, though, we got our first match of the night. It was Kyrie Sain versus Roxan Perez. And in my head, I was just like, before the match even started, I'm like, why do we even need to see this? Why is this even happening? I was like, whatever, this isn't even, I'm like, I know this is not going to be good. But I went into it with an open mind, and let me tell you, worst mistake I've made in my life ever. Because I went into this match with an open mind, hoping that it would be good. Nope. This match sucked. This match was horrible. This match was probably the most botchy match I've ever watched in my life. Most botchy Raw or SmackDown or wrestling match I've ever watched, man. This match was terrible. This match was so botchy. This was an absolute mess. And I've never seen so many botches in such a short time span. Like Kyrie Sain and Roxanne Perez, dude, botch left, right, botch left, right, botch left, right. Like, you couldn't go 10 seconds without seeing a botch move. I'm like, dude. It's like those 2 women did not know what they wanted to do in the ring. And like most of the botches, if I'm being honest, they didn't come from Roxanne Perez. No, they came from Kyrie Sain, which I'm like, man, this is not a good look. Because Roxanne Perez, she was hitting her spots. And like the botches came from, Kyrie Sain's moves, Kyrie Sain trying to execute her moveset. And I was kind of like, man, this is not a good look. But anyhow, though, let me tell you, this is probably the first time this has probably happened for one of my reviews, but there was no highlights in this match for me. This match was just straight up botches. No highlights for me. Just the most important thing that happened in this match was that Kyrie Sain won. Crazy enough. I'm like, really? Roxanne Perez couldn't get the win, even with the aid of Raquel Rodriguez ringside? That was insane, but whatever. Kyrie Sain ended up winning. And let me tell you, this match was bad. This match is worse than I'm even trying to explain it to be. This match was that bad. But anyhow, though, after the match ends, Kyrie Sane gets jumped by Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. And then out of nowhere, Asuka's entrance music hits. Asuka comes running out to the aid of Kyrie Sane. And that's it. It's announced that the Kabuki Warriors, that tag team, is back, and they will be facing off against Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, and then Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, and the tag team down at NXT, Sol Ruka and her tag team partner. So that's going to be the match at Evolution. Anyhow, though, that was it. Anyways, moving on, because this was terrible. We're just going to blow right past it. Moving on. Next, though, we got like a few cool segments throughout the show, so I'm just going to bunch it up here and just talk about them right now. We got some funny backstage segments between Adam Pearce and American Made. We got some funny backstage segments between Adam Pearce and Asuka and Kyrie Sane. We got some funny backstage segments between Adam Pearce and The New Day. I found that entertaining. And we got a pretty funny backstage segment from Seth and friends. Bron Breakker was singing the Sami Zayn chant. Bron Breakker was backstage talking about some Sami Zayn. I was like, that was pretty funny. He wasn't on beat though. That's what made it even funnier. And I'm like, dude, I kind of like this side of Bron Breakker where it seems like he has some personality, you know? Anyhow, though, the Seth Rollins and friends part, it happened after the Sami Zayn and Bron Breakker match, but I'm just bunching it up here. But anyhow, though, we got our second match of the night. It was Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker. Before the match even starts, Sami Zayn gets attacked by Karrion Kross, and Karrion Kross comes out with his metal or steel baseball bat again, and he smashes it into Sami Zayn's already injured ribs. Mind you, Sami Zayn's ribs were already injured, and he re-attacks it with the same baseball bat, the same metal baseball bat, right? And for whatever reason, the Man of Steel, Superman Sami Zayn, with injured ribs, he's like, no, I can fight. I'm able to do this. He's still able to fight. I'm like, come on, dude. What is this? You could have just like, okay, the match is canceled or something. Make it make sense. Sami Zayn is not a superhero. Sami Zayn is not invincible. This man's ribs were already injured. And you tell me he gets smacked with a baseball bat again, a metal baseball bat. And he's just like, no, I can fight. I can go on. And he proceeds to have any sort of offense in the match too. Because he was attacking Breakker too. He was like throwing Breakker around and jumping off the top rope. I'm like, come on, make these injuries believable. I'm like, so what now? Is it just like Sami Zayn, the Man of Steel? Sami Zayn, Superman Zayn? Like, come on. This was nonsense. This really pissed me off, and it rubbed me the wrong way because I'm like, dude, let's just have it believable. You're telling me he's injured. Okay, play off that. He gets hit with a baseball bat. Fine. He's injured again. Whatever. His ribs is messed up. Sami Zayn wants to fight. Okay, that's fine. I'll look past it. But to have the audacity to show me Sami Zayn jumping off the top rope, having any type of offense in the match is crazy, man. That I'm like, man, that was stupid. But anyhow, though, the only good thing that happened out of this match, the only good thing that came from this match was the fact that it ended really quickly. Anyhow, though, some highlights was that at the beginning of the match, Sami Zayn got completely tossed around by Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker was just throwing him left, right, big powerhouse moves, stuff like that. Sami Zayn was able to get some offense. Like I said, I'm like, even injured, he was able to, bring the fight to Bron Breakker, which was absolutely crazy and stupid to me. Anyhow, though, Sami Zayn ended up hitting Bron Breakker with a clothesline. He hit Bron Breakker with a off the top rope, double axe handle strike. He jumped off the top of the rope twice, mind you, with injured ribs, And then the last time he went up on the top rope to jump and do a crossbody, Bron Breakker caught him midair with a spear. And then after that, Bron Breakker rolled Sami Zayn onto the outside area. Well, Sami Zayn rolled out onto outside area, and Bron Breakker ended up hitting him with a super spear on the outside area. Sami Zayn gets thrown back into the ring, and Bron Breakker spears him for a third time, and Bron Breakker wins by spearing Sami Zayn. And it was later announced on the show that Sami Zayn will be out indefinitely due to the injury. Moving on, this was, again, terrible, not believable. And I'm not saying, not believable. I know what it is, We all know what WWE is. We know what it is. But come on, have it make sense. That's all I'm saying. Have it make sense, But after this, though, we got an absolutely mediocre in-ring promo from Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, and Bayley. This was, I don't know, man. It was there. That's the most I can say about it. It was there. Let's just get right into it. Becky Lynch gets on the mic and she says that, can someone explain to me why these two losers were able to get a triple threat match? Why is it that there's a Becky versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria match? I beat those two losers already, and those are her exact words. Becky Lynch says that she has beaten both the women already, and she deserves to pick her own opponent, just like Io Sky was able to do, and just like Tiffany Stratton was able to do. Becky Lynch says that she should be able to pick her own opponent as well. And then Becky Lynch ends up saying that she's theorizing that Bailey and Lyra Valkyria are actually faking their drama just to, they're actually working together behind the scenes. They're faking the drama, and they've been planning this just so they get the triple threat match, and so Becky could be at the disadvantage. And I found that pretty funny. I was like, I could kind of get behind that, but no, that wasn't even where they tried to spin it. It wasn't. It was even stupider and dumbed down even more. After Becky Lynch finishes her whole spiel, Bailey comes out, and I'm pretty sure Bailey got a new entrance song. And this one was the most generic entrance song I've ever heard. Like, Bailey literally came out to no pop. And like the song hit, the music hit. I'm like, who's even coming out? And the crowd was dead silent too. I'm like, why? Why? But anyhow, though, Bailey comes out to no pop. And while Bailey's making her entrance, Lyra Valkyria interrupts Bailey and just walks right down to the ring and starts, yelling at Becky. So all three of the women got in the ring and they just started arguing pointlessly. They started talking and arguing about nothing, pointing fingers and accusing each other of doing this and that and stuff like that. It was a pointless promo. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, this promo was pointless. But like I said, all three men just got in the ring and then just started arguing pointlessly and just pointing fingers and accusing each other. And that was that. Lyra ends up calling Becky and Bailey two massive disappointments. And then Bailey gets on the mic and she says that she was by Lyra's side through thick and thin, through everything. When Lyra won her Intercontinental Championship, when Lyra won her tag team title, she was there. And then she ended up, cursing out Lyra, blah, blah, blah. Then a big brawl ensues, and Lyra, Superman Lyra, never mind, Superwoman Lyra, because I don't know, Lyra, just can't be beaten, can't be, whatever. Superwoman Lyra ends up laying out both Becky and Bailey, Both Becky and Bailey get laid out by Lyra Valkyria. Let that sink in. Both Becky and Bailey. You're telling me Lyra Valkyria is a bigger threat than Becky and Bailey? The two out of the four women who've carried the women's division in the last, I don't know, decade or so, like last 5 years, last decade. You're telling me Lyra Valkyria completely lays them out like they're two jobbers? That's crazy, man. And Lyra just lays them both out and she stands tall. I'm like, all right. I guess all their favorite stars are just washed now. They're washed. They're not the same. I don't know, man. Out with the old, in with the new, I guess. But anyhow, though, after this, we got our third match of the night. It was Bronson Reed versus the Yeet Man Jay Uso. 4 letters, 1 word. Yeet. Anyhow, though, this was pretty funny because Jay Uso's entrance was literally longer than the whole duration of the match. And I'm like, bro, that was funny to me. But anyhow, though, Jay Uso came out and he apparently got a new in-ring attire, which looks pretty cool. He wrestles and he has his matches. He's wearing shorts now, which looks pretty cool. He's showing off like his leg tattoos and stuff like that. And I found that pretty cool. But anyhow, though, like I said, Jay Uso's entrance was literally, no joke, longer than the whole duration of the match. This match was like, I think maybe 5 minutes at most. So this match ended really quickly. So what happened was Jay Uso ended up hitting a suicide dive on Bronson Reed. He goes to hit a second suicide dive. And then Bronson Reed somehow gets a chair from the announcers, like the computer chairs, and he literally spikes it at Jay Uso while Jay Uso's trying to do a suicide dive. And Jay Uso gets hit with like the announcer's chair straight to the face. That causes a disqualification. Bronson Reed hits 2 tsunamis on Jay Uso. And mind you, at the beginning of the show, Bronson Reed was bragging about how he hit Seth Rollins with 6 tsunamis. And he says he plans on taking Jay Uso out tonight, right? Completely eliminating Jay Uso, nullifying the threat. And he gets the opportunity to do that. And he only hits Jay Uso with 2 tsunamis. Let that sink in. I'm like, bro, it makes no sense. But anyhow, though, Bronson Reed, who said he was going to completely obliterate Jay Uso, he just hits him with 2 tsunamis and walks out, and that's it. I thought he was just going to keep getting on the top rope and tsunami, and hit him with like 5, 6, 7 tsunamis. But nope, 2 tsunamis, and he walks out. And that was your whole match. This was terrible. But after that, though, we got an LA Knight video package, and this was pretty entertaining. One of the few entertaining things that happened tonight. It was an LA Knight video package. LA Knight was just basically talking about how at main event he plans on beating Seth Rollins, and he's gonna take Seth Rollins' briefcase and shove it up Seth Rollins's where the sun don't shine. He says he's gonna do that. He's gonna beat Seth Rollins, and that was pretty funny. After that, though, we got our 4th match of the night, which was El Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee. And so basically, the whole story behind this thing is that they switched out Omos with the Great Khali. Omos used to be El Grande Americano. And now they switched Omos out with Great Khali, and they think that the fans won't notice. But I noticed, WWE, I'm on to you. I noticed, like, they think, like, you won't notice a slight difference because, It's the same El Grande Americano supposedly. Dude, I saw right through it. I'm like, dude, they took Omos out and they put in the Great Khali. I'm like, you think because they have the same attire, same mask, I can't notice a difference between the two different people under the mask? I'm like, right. The physique is different and everything. I'm like, you think I would notice you taking out Omos and putting in the Great Khali? You think I would notice that? I'm like, dude, how dumb do you think we are, WWE? I saw right through it right as soon as he came out. I'm like, that's not my El Grande Americano. That's not my Omos. That's definitely Great Khali. And I called it. And I'm just waiting for them to announce it, so I could, jump around and prance around knowing that I was right all along. But anyhow, though, this match was pretty funny. It wasn't good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't great. It was just funny. That's the most I can say about it. Anyways, though, the most important thing was that El Grande Americano won the match, and that was that. This was definitely a match. I can tell you that much. This was a match. This was definitely a match. Moving on. This was terrible. It was just funny. That's all I can say about it. Moving on, though, we got a terrible in-ring promo from Gunther. It was Gunther basically addressing Goldberg. It was a Gunther and Goldberg promo segment. Gunther comes out. He says the same thing. He says that Goldberg is a coward. He's trash talking Goldberg. He says that Goldberg is afraid of him. Goldberg is old. Goldberg is this. Goldberg is that. He's going to defeat Goldberg, and Goldberg is afraid of him. And that's why Goldberg isn't here tonight. And out of nowhere, Goldberg pulls up drifting in a muscle car. He stomps his way out to the ring. He smacks the mic out of Gunther's hand. He punches Gunther right in the mouth. And he starts setting up for his, big spear, the Goldberg spear. He starts setting up Gunther for the spear. And Gunther has to roll out the ring. And Gunther literally rolls out the ring and he runs away. And this infuriated me. And I'm like, let me ask you this right now. Why in the world is our world heavyweight champion, Gunther, running away from a 97-year-old Goldberg? Why? Gunther should have been standing in the middle of the ring ready to lay out Goldberg at any instant, at any notice, dude. And you're telling me Gunther, the world heavyweight champion, is running away from a 97-year-old Goldberg? Really? This makes Gunther look so ridiculous. This makes Gunther look stupid, unserious, and so weak. I'm like, dude, the booking is so terrible, so horrendous. This booking is atrocious, man. You're telling me Gunther, the world heavyweight champion, the Ring General, he's running away from a 97-year-old Goldberg. I'm like, dude, I'm so over this. It's not even funny. But after that, though, we got to a main event. It was Seth Rollins versus Penta. It was a match. It happened in the main event, and that's why it was the main event match. But this match had no business being in the main event at all. There was no stakes, no nothing, no reason, no reason for it being there. I'm like, why is this even in the main event? Why is Seth facing off against Penta? Why is Seth facing off against Penta on a random Raw match for no stakes, no stipulations, nothing on the line? It was just, this had no business being in the main event. And the only reason why it was a main event match is because it was a match in the main event. That's all I can say, dude. But anyhow, though, some highlights from this was that Penta hit a huge top rope hurricanrana. Penta hit his Penta driver on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins hit the buckle bomb move where he picks you up in the power bomb position and throws you into the turnbuckles. Penta hit a Mexican destroyer on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ended up having to hit Penta with a low blow so he could win. Seth Rollins, the future, the vision, the architect, he had to hit Penta with a low blow to beat Penta one-on-one. That's all I'm gonna say. So anyhow, though, Seth Rollins hits Penta with a low blow. Then he ends up curb stomping Penta, and that's how he wins the match, because he had to low blow Penta. He couldn't beat Penta clean, no, because Penta's just that strong. Penta's that much better, He couldn't beat Penta clean, nope. He had to hit Penta with a low blow. After the match, though, LA Knight ends up coming out and he sneaks Seth Rollins. He hits Seth Rollins with a BFT out of nowhere, and then he scurries out of the arena because Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were like right on his tail. And that's how that whole thing ends. That's how the show ends, with Seth Rollins getting BFT'd and LA Knight running out of the stadium. And that was your Raw. That was this week's Raw. That was this week's episode of Raw. This week's episode of Raw was absolutely atrocious, like I said, and it will receive my lowest rating so far. This Raw was a solid 3 out of 10. This episode was and is absolutely skippable. Nothing meaningful happened, nothing impactful happened, nothing surprising or even entertaining happened. And I'm honestly at a loss for words. This is probably the worst Raw I've ever watched in my life. Honestly, I'm speechless right now. And that's all I have to say. This Raw was terrible. It was atrocious. It was horrendous. It was bad. Worst Raw I've watched in a long time. But anyhow, though, that was my breakdown. That was my review. That was my whole rant on this week's episode of Raw. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for hearing me out. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. And as always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.